too, if you want people to get a hold of you, is you can rename yourself, your email address or your website. And then it's up there. So Wissam, I would love for you to, we were talking about scaling a coaching business and approaching how to scale a coaching business. My question for you though was, when you say you have a couple coaches with you and scaling a business, does this mean that you have a coaching business that has other coaches in it that you are managing, or are you coaching the other coaches?
Yes, it just reached that kind of place where, as a coach, you only have a certain amount of capacity that you can handle. Mm-hmm. And it's really, for me, it's almost headspace in terms of what you can handle as a person. And it's around maybe 10 to max like 12 people. So if you want to be able to expand that, you're going to have to be able to now set yourself in terms of what other people can hold certain spaces. I just began not too long ago, and I get a lot of people who want I'm literally like booked out till next year. And it's just, I'm constantly getting that. I also do a lot of speaking for high schools, and I just got a major contract in terms of these kinds of things, and where I'm speaking like locally here in 3 schools. I also have clients that have booked me out already in terms of speaking engagements, in terms of yearly aspects. And
you have the problems that every coach wishes they had.
And I'm not like, I'm really grateful for the short time that I've been in this to kind of achieve some of the stuff. And I've been going up on price to kind of drive people away, but it's not working. Mm-hmm. Literally,
you should. I mean, honestly, you should. If you are a commodity, your time is limited. Then it's a fantastic way to. It allows you to give more time to fewer clients, right? And more time for yourself in that way. And if you can do that, then absolutely you should. Absolutely.
So for me, like, I've reached a point where like 80 to 85% of my clients are like multimillionaires, either millionaires or multimillionaires. So I've kind of gotten to the point where I understand millionaire problems. It's almost like a brand now that it's kind of running around that circle. So I, again, just to be in that space, it gives me a lot of capability to manage, because you no longer have to worry about the financials of things as you first start off. I started out like doing $50 a call. You know what I mean? That's no, it's not like
you're gonna have to share your story at some point so that we know. I mean, how you achieved this success.
So I would just say, you get to a point. There's only so much you can handle in terms of, okay, like then you get with a client and then they want you to take on their wife because they have certain things inside. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, So, but it's constant, and you have this flow of work, and everything is great, and you're doing what you love to do. But there's the scaling part. That's why I asked that.
But my question for you though, first is, do you want to grow? Because what I'm hearing, from my perspective, what I'm hearing is that may not necessarily be something that you're interested in. I mean, it seems like you feel like you should or you have to, but it also seems like you are at your capacity, right?
Yes, I do want to grow in terms of that. I am at my capacity in terms of how many clients I can handle, and with the particular client that I have, now kind of bringing that down to other people.
So that's
coaching
group
others.
Coaching. I mean, that's where I would say, have you considered group coaching? Have you considered creating a program? Have you considered creating a program that is automated, that has an app, or a group coaching experience that also has a bunch of tools or things built into it that you don't necessarily have to be present for, but that can be your brand and your process, right? So you brand it, you process it, you create this, and that is stuff that can go to them and be evergreen. And then you only have to be present for a shorter amount of time. There is we just did PQ School, which is this by Coach Sherrod, and it was fantastic. It's an app And one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize as you're going through the app, he releases videos every Saturday. It's a 7-week program. It's for coaches only. And it feels like he's present, right? It feels like he is there, he is present. But if you watch the videos from day 1 and the videos from week 1, week 7, he's in the exact same shirt. His voice is getting scratchier by week 7, so he literally recorded everything he needed for that app and for those to be released in one day. Why? He doesn't have to be present. It's a great way for him to bring people in. He offers it for free as well. So he brings them in for coaches. He then steps up to his next program where he actually charges them. And then from there, you can get his one-on-one services. So he's able to then bring people in, get his brand out there and scale, and also create a name for himself and his book, but it's all entirely evergreen. So he does not have to, he has to do it one time and it's done, it's up. The thing with evergreen content and group things like that is you have to really have the production there. So it has to be really well thought through, and it takes some time to to do it properly. It really does. But there is also the group aspect, where that is you can get to 10 people, or 20 people in one sitting, just like you in this class, right? Every time Dan is coaching, you're learning something, are you not? You may not be participating in it, but by virtue of watching, we all run it through our personal filters and we gain something from that. The biggest key with going that direction is to make sure you create a process and a brand, something that is yours. So with Shahzad, Coach Shahzad, it's PQ, it's positive intelligence. And that is really the cornerstone of what his brand is and what he's putting out there. Now he's built out what he calls the saboteurs, which are akin to like the Enneagram, or, where it's like different facets of personalities, and then there's the judge in it and the sage perspective. And so he's taken all of that, but it all falls within the PQ school. So he has created something that is his brand, and that is what he's known for. And that gets to the point of what is your brand and what do you want to be known for? What is it about your process that makes you unique, that makes it's so successful? And that's where I would get into that. Okay, so, what is that? What makes you successful? How have you built such a successful business? And then how do you take that and create a program out of it?
Okay. Okay. So, is that a question or a rhetical?
It's either way. If you want to answer it, it's up to you.
I don't know if there's.
Yeah. So, there are other. We can take a pause here for now, but it's food for thought, right? It's a good place to start. Did that help? Did it answer? Did it?
Yeah. I actually already created a product, so that's already there. So I've already taken that step.
Okay, great.
And maybe we could elaborate, but I don't want to take up all the time. I want to be respectful. I want to be in terms of other people if they have any questions.
I would love to have you on one of our Tuesday lives though, so that we can talk about you and yours everything. And I'm going to make Jerome connect with you. So please. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate that. It's good to meet you.
Pleasure.
All right. I see a Dawn and Sarah and Patrice. And hi guys. We're going to switch. Who wants to go? Just unmute and join in. I have no fear here. I see you guys are eating though. I also see that. So if you don't want to, we can go to Patrice or Pam as well. People are coming out. Hi. And it's Sylvia. I see you too. So anybody, Pam, I see you've unmuted.
I'm just saying hello. Hi there.
Hi, hello. How are you? And then Patrice, did you have a question? Oh, she got up.
I'm sorry.
I have beautiful timing. It's brilliant.
I'm unmuted. Yeah, I'm unmuted. I don't know that I have any other one at the moment. I like the way you described being able to do everything on one website. That was very helpful. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we were talking about prior to coming live is that Patrice is a singer and songwriter, right? And are you a musician as well? Well, I think they're one and the same. They're all in the same, right? And so she is going to be coaching people who have writer's block or creative
block. Yeah.
Yeah. In the singing realm. And she was wondering if she could combine the two on her website. And I think absolutely. I think too, there is something with the Patrice Sings that you can build into your brand. really, you can take that and use, I mean, because it's like, you're going to help people sing, you're going to help hearts sing, you're going to help, I think that you can play with that in your branding as well, if you wanted. So, but yeah, you can absolutely just make sure that you're just very deliberate with your keywords and where your people are landing. Nowadays, we build a homepage, but the landing page is really where people are sent most of the time. So those are really annoying pages where you can't figure out how to log in, or it only gives you one option, and that is to like buy something, and then it drives you nuts. Those are the landing pages. Yeah.
You would work with us on keywords too, and SEO and all that
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely. That is my specialty. I would say that SEO and that's really one of my favorite things, for sure. Well, Google Ads, SEO, that whole side, anything Google, and branding. I love branding. Branding is that's where my art gets to come in. So.
You do graphic design as well?
Yeah, that's my original background is actually in film and television, but also in design and production design.
Fantastic.
So that's where I started, and then I grew from there. And there was a point when I realized, well, if I wanted a business where I would always have business, it was in marketing, because marketing, everybody needs marketing. Every business needs marketing. Every human being needs marketing. And that's where I quickly, I ended up moving my business that direction, because I found it would be sort of just a smart move. So here I am.
We go on to the site that Jerome has provided, and then just book an appointment with you.
Yeah, just book an appointment. It'll send me a thing, and then I send out. It's all automated for me, which is lovely, and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. My appointments are usually on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So
are you pretty booked out? Would it be a few months?
It depends. I don't think it'll be that far. No, no, absolutely not. Thank you.
Second, I'm listening, but I'm just.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to learn something. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Pam? Do you have any questions? I see you unmuted, so that's why it's your fault for being unmuted.
I don't have any. At this time, I don't have any questions. But I'm learning from everything. Everything you're saying and what the questions are coming in.
You have beautiful eyes, by the way.
Oh, that's
beautiful.
So
They're just striking. So.
Girl with her hand up.
Wait, Sarah. Yes, Sarah, I see you with your hand up. Hi. I was avoiding you because I saw you were eating, and I didn't want to do that to you.
Yeah, thank you. I do have a question about like homepage and SEO.
Mm-hmm.
I understand blogging in SEO in the blogging realm, which I would like to incorporate blog posts within. But how do you drive the SEO on like a homepage?
Well, SEO is so multifaceted, and the blog comes in on the homepage too. Don't get me wrong, because you should. There's a reason our blogs are on our homepage. But basically, when I say SEO, what do you understand SEO as being?
So many things. I took a course called Blogging in the Fast Lane. And I learned about long tail keywords, key search, keyword searches.
Generally, though, what is it?
And alt tags.
And generally, it's used basically to so that we are able to people can find us on the internet, right? It's through Google, really, is what it is, and Google alone. So yeah, it all begins on its basic level. When I build out a homepage, what will happen is we will then make sure all of the photos have alt tags on them, which means that's so that Google can scan the site with a computer and know everything that's on that site, and be able to explain to both Google, to somebody who is visually impaired, hearing impaired, anything all of that explainer needs to be there on the back end, so that way it is accessible and Google understands what's happening. And the more you follow by those rules, the higher you'll rank. But there is more than that goes into your ranking, and there's more than just alt tags. So it's very layered process. Backlinks is something you'll hear about. So when we blog, we aren't just blogging to write; we're also blogging to include links and backlinks, and to link out to websites that can link to us, and hopefully link out to websites that are relevant to what it is we do, and then have them link back to us. By virtue of doing that, we now gain some trustworthiness, some authority in Google's eyes, and they'll bring us up on the list. So that's a big part of blogging, a very important part of blogging. Also, a big thing you can do is you're going to have a keyword, a description, a title, and your keywords, and you want those to be somewhat consistent. You want them to make sense and be sentences, and your title should be structured a specific way. So and that's for each page, has its own one. And it's just about knowing what those keywords are, being consistent with them, getting in and making sure, and also knowing it's a long-term game. So when you start building, day one, when you start building your site and putting in SEO, you're not going to see return on that for 6 months to a year. Just know that it's a long-term game, because you have to start to build that up in Google's eyes. It takes a while. You've got to build up. There are ways to shoot to the top, but there's not. Really, the best way to shoot to the top is just to run a Google ad if you want. Honestly, that's what I've said is to many in person. Just if you want to be first, just run an ad. It won't be organic, but most people don't even realize what they're clicking on and whether it is organic or not most of the time. The first 3 things that you see typically on a Google search is a paid ad. So anything you Google, you'll see the first 3 listings, and sometimes it's the first 5 listings is a paid ad. And it is simply somebody who is paying to have it there and have it above all the organic keywords. So
what's the average cost for something to run like that?
Anything you want it to be, but not cheap. Basically, on average, I don't like to spend on one keyword more than $5 if possible. And what that means is that means one search. So one time somebody searches, I don't want to spend, if I can, more than $5. Sometimes we'll spend $25, which is really annoying. But I try to do everything I can to make sure that doesn't happen. Ideally, we're falling into more like $2 to $3. But if you think, that's one search. That's one time one person puts in that. So you can set a daily cap. So you can say, okay, I want to spend $20 a day on running ads. And then, but the key with that, there's the first step is you want to make sure that you're tracking your conversions. And that means so that you know the money's being spent well and where it's going and what's working. And the second thing being, you want to really refine and really narrow all of the parameters you can. Like you want to make sure that your geography is where you're narrow down your search, narrow down your time, only have them run when people who buy are buying, only have them run in places where because otherwise you can spend money on these arbitrary things where you're never going to see any return. And you start to get to narrow that focus and really get to know it. The use of negative keywords comes in handy in Google Ads because you've got your keywords, what people are searching, but with the negative keyword, you can make sure you're not bidding when you don't want to be. It's an auction. So every time somebody searches, an auction goes off in seconds. Like there's lightning fast auction, boom, 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 boom. And that is how Google Ads works. So you are literally bidding on keywords. So one of the things that drives me nuts is our name, Certified Life Coach Institute. Other schools will bid on it and they will drive up the cost of our name. And so then right now for Certified Life Coach Institute, it's something like $25. And it's like, oh, but I can't not keep that in my keywords. So it becomes a bit of a war where then I go and bid on their names and it's no fun. It's not good for anybody. But that's one of the reasons I love Google Ads is it's definitely it's a fun little competitive, but it's a lot. I will tell you, the learning curve on it can be frustrating. And you cannot always trust Google representatives. I'm certified. I have been through, and I will set a lot of times run circles around them. But then I got partnered with this amazing Google expert for 3 months. And I've learned so much. It was I was one of the most beneficial things that Google, they give you a lot of tools. They give you everything, really. You can learn everything for free with them. And they'll do a lot for you as well. Just always make sure you backtrack and run it through your filter. You got to stay on it because they're going to do generic general. They don't know your business and you've got to keep your thumb on the pulse. So yeah, a lot of info. Who's next?
I had a question. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead, guys. I'm sorry, Sylvia, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. Sylvia, I see a hand.
Okay, let me unmute myself. Oh, I am
Yeah,
unmuted.
I can hear
Yes.
you. You're fine. You're
Okay, hi there, Brooke.
Hi, Sylvia.
I might have came in towards the tail end of two conversations. I heard Patrice's conversation with you about music, coaching. Then I heard a bit of a conversation with Wisam. So I have a nonprofit organization that I have had for 11 plus years, and in it is service oriented services that I offer. So are you recommending that I combine my coaching business into it? Because part of it is I do a lot of referrals for counselors, and I'm like, oh, I have this in me that I can offer.
Well, I mean, a lot of that depends on the nonprofit. I mean, because we absolutely, so we have lots of graduates that have nonprofits. And actually I was moving towards starting one for a little bit. And I mean, of course, there's all the rules of nonprofits and how they operate and how they work and everything. But I guess there is no reason why you could not use your services within it, but it would depend on what the structure and bounds of your nonprofit is as well, right? So what does your nonprofit do would be my first question. But I think coaching can be used in anything, really. So,
Well, we here locally, I'm the only resource center around and that help families from different countries get acclimated into the community. So I've offered English classes, Spanish classes, interpretations, translations, and then counseling has been a big issue because these families come in and they have, they want to counsel.
yeah, no, it sounds to me like that's absolutely something you could do. Like if you're offering, I mean, it's in the bounds of that. I would say without a doubt, that's a natural fit. Without a doubt it is. Yeah. Absolutely. And I really don't see any issue. I was working with a student who worked for a company that was, well, it was a nonprofit, and she wasn't coaching, she was doing something else, but she got them to integrate, after graduating here, a coaching program into their nonprofit where she got to coach, group coach, and then she got to do one-on-one coaching as well. And they built a whole program and position for her around that within the nonprofit after graduating from here. So it is absolutely something doable for sure. And hers, I believe it was helping. I want to say it was helping. It was homeless. I believe it was like homeless transition, essentially, folk. And so she was doing coaching with them. I think it was what it was. But it was very cool. It was, and it was, I actually coached her through that process. And so that was it was neat to see her go through it and actually make it happen. So, yeah.
Okay.
And who's next? You guys are, by the way, how is level 2? Are you enjoying yourselves? You guys are a very warm group. I love the energy in this room. It's a very, very welcoming and warm energy, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you. Jennifer, I see Jennifer Fox, except you're kind of in silhouette and you're hard to see. So you look a little mysterious.
It's my sunroom, and
I know it looks beautiful wherever you are at, though.
For Zoom.
And you've got an orchid, a gorgeous orchid. So, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just learning and listening from everyone else.
Okay,
Learned
well,
a lot. Been writing a lot of notes.
it's beautiful, and I love your orchid. I keep them on occasion, and then inevitably my cats murder them. So, oh, Patrice, you had a question. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
There you are. Now we can.
Yes, I was just online booking a session with you because I speak and I write and I then sing and songwrite, and I have an LLC as well. So I I just want to talk to you about that stuff and probably not bore everybody else.
I don't think you're boring anybody. I think that everybody's learning from one another's questions. So yeah,
that's sweet.
absolutely.
Cool. I think it was, I don't know if it was about SEO, what Sarah was asking about.
Yeah, I always feel like
or
when I
paid ads, maybe, yeah, I'm trying to
I will
remember.
say the biggest key with paid ads, before you run a paid ad, before anybody runs a paid ad, make sure that your tracking is in place. Like that is, I cannot express that enough. I cannot, coming from somebody who has went through just the worst. I mean, because I was green the first time I did it, and I was just trying to make sure everything was right, and I was worried it wasn't, and it was just but now that I appreciate how important it is, and how important it is to have that value, because the way when they're doing ads and things like that, the way that they do the smart tracking and the smart bidding and everything is based on your conversions, and so if your conversions aren't doing what they're supposed to do, it's not going to be measuring the right analytic. It's not going to be, so then you're going to end up losing money. And the idea here is you don't want to lose money. You want to be very specific and targeted with the money you're spending so that it all goes towards getting you money back. And that's it.
I was remembering, excuse me, I was remembering when you were saying that that they buy certified life coach or something, they buy the name and.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's a bidding process. So what can happen is what'll happen is I will bid on, I will have our name and it will cost like $5, but then somebody else will say, well, we'll bid on their name up to $8. So then it'll get driven up to $8. And then I go, well, what are they doing? Well, fine, I've got to bid on it up to $12 now. And then it just keeps, this kind of thing. And so it's not it's not actually the best. When I first started out in Google Ads, somebody said, well, you probably don't want to bid too much on competitors' key names, because then they'll just end up driving the price up, and then they'll go after yours. And I didn't believe it, but I didn't do it either. And then people started doing it to me, and I was like, okay, this is, we're doing it now. Like we are going after people. I became very incensed with the process. But what's funny is, honestly, though, in most cases, our searches are not coming from people who are searching our name directly. If they're searching our name directly, they already know who we are. So it's not too much of a stress. The Google Ads is really more directed for those folks who are still kind of searching and wondering and all of that for certified. I will say too, running it for coaches too has been very successful as well, running an ad, just because it gets you up there in the search. But it is, again, not something that is cheap, and it is something you want to do that is there are other ways. There's 1,000 ways, a million. I mean, there are innumerable amounts of ways to get people to find you. And that's one of the reasons I'm curious to learn about Wissam's success, because I want to know how people found him, because that's one of the biggest questions we get. Is how do I do this? What is the key? What is the one size fits all process? And the truth is, there really isn't one that is one size fits all. It's whatever size fits you, and your ideal client, which is, you guys are going to be well matched with one another, and have probably, if not things in common, a good understanding of one another. So you got to keep you both in mind.
Artists deal with that too, that's what I'm dealing with now, having my name bought and really expensive to buy back. I mean, so,
yeah, that's one of the biggest things you can do that's good, is just own. It's funny, like with Jerome, when Jerome started working for me, I bought his name, every URL and version of it I could. Every person that works for me, I own all of your names. Simply not because I will hand it to them in a minute, but I also know that it's just a good thing to have. And you don't want, if for some reason there's some degree of major success or something, it's better that it's under our umbrella than it is in the hands of somebody else. It's for me, it's good business. For me, buying URLs is some kind of akin to, I don't know, I guess like shopping on eBay or something like that. I mean, it's that I'm buying things that it's almost like investing. It's like mini investments. Like I will buy URLs that I think might have some play, people might be interested in later, just to own them, because eventually I have bid up to, a few $1,000s just to buy a URL that was in somebody else's hands. So I just think they're good investments in many ways, especially when the .coach came out. Now almost all of them are gone, and there's so many I wish I had grabbed before they were gone. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a .coach URL now. So you could, I was looking like, at life.coach, be a life.coach, and all of those, because it's just, but the funny thing with the anythings though, like a .coach or a .marketing, we're .marketing for us, is sometimes you run into bumps where websites just don't even acknowledge it as a website. They're like, that's not, you need a .com. We're just not acknowledging it. And the other thing is everybody goes, I go cunning.marketing, and they go .com. And I'm like, no, cunning.marketing. There's no dot after that. That's the end of it. So that's, people still are catching on to that, I guess. So Jerome, how are you doing over there? I just want to check in with you.
I'm doing great. I'm going to drop some links here for you guys, because I know we're talking about SEO a lot. I
yeah.
have a question. Is there a way you can practice running ads with Google without actually having to pay for it?
Sort of. Okay, so here's the thing with Google, is they used to be able to go into Google Ads and like play around without having to spend any money. But I remember recently, and I feel like I had to start an account and actually like commit, like you still have to go through the process, like you're gonna spend money just to even get in there. But once you're in there though, they do have a lot of tools that you can play with. They have like a keyword planner tool, they have an ad planning tool, and they have tools that let you see if your ads are even running in certain places. Like I said, Google gives you like everything you need essentially for free. They created the problem. They'll give you the solution for free, but you're still gonna have to pay for a lot of part of the solution. They'll give you the tools to understand the solution you have to pay for. One of the greatest things that they do provide is like Google University. Which is, I believe it's called Google University. It might be called, I think that is, where they offer free classes, free certification, free everything in Google Ads, Google Analytics, Google Search Console. And so you can just go in and it's all digital, and you can just, if you want to, if you're up for it, take the time to go in and start to learn those things and do it on your own. It's how I did it, was I just started watching the videos, taking the classes, learning. And I started learning also from SEO experts online, and just really, that was my delving into it. And it became a passion for me, and it became something, because I like puzzles, and I'm audio digital. You guys are in level 2, you understand. I am an audio digital. So like that is definitely my primary modality. So for me, it was like, ooh, it's a big process with structure and rules, and I'm so excited. And so like, because that's my favorite thing is to basically find the structure, learn how to get around the structure if I can, or how to thrive within it. So I am definitely a very rules and processes oriented person. And so that for me was very exciting. I always say, and I'm audio digital kinesthetic, so I am a feeling robot.
Put it that perfectly.
But yeah, that's what I find comfort in numbers, and others may not. Like Jerome gets very overwhelmed with numbers, whereas I'm like, oh, numbers, comfort. But there's a lot. Another gentleman that I highly look up to in the world of SEO, his name is Nick Patel. Neil Patel. Neil Patel. And he has a ton of videos. He also has a free SEO analyzer. Actually, we'll be putting an SEO analyzer on our site here soon too. But he has so much, like he has so much information. It's almost overwhelming, but his videos are very short, easy to understand. And they're just good, like snippets of really, really great information. So I highly recommend him as a resource when it comes to SEO. I really do. He started doing SEO back when it was not even a thing. Like, and people had just started hearing about it, and he basically became just a massive millionaire, like just took over in a very short amount of time, because he figured out the rules, figured out how to live within them, and then figured out how to thrive in them. And that's really what he talks about. He's also created now software that, like, one of it does like it shows on your website, it looks like a heat map. So that you can see where people are pausing, where people are spending most of their time searching, and it really has been. I mean, he's made some really cool tools, and I really, really highly recommend him. He talks really fast, and he's always like he's yelling at you.
I recognize what he's doing.
He does. He knows. He absolutely. I trust him implicitly, and he has other experts on too, which are great too. That's, I mean, one of the reasons I like him is he's very his one of his things is he says you have Google Analytics and you have analytics, but are you using analytics? Because that's one of the biggest things people say. I have them. How are you using them? Do you guys have any idea what the difference might be? Because most people are, and I didn't quite understand it until I got into it. When I'm using my analytics, it means I'm in there and I'm looking at them and I am understanding them and I am changing what I am doing based on what the analytics are telling me. You know, a lot of people just look at them and they go, oh, it's like this or that, but it's almost like in a passive way. You want to actually really look at your analytics and learn from them, and then learn how to be able to change them and manipulate them and change what you're doing in order to create the analytics you want, essentially, or to learn from them so that you can thrive. Like if 80% of our users use iPhones, I mean, it's some ridiculous amount. So I of course went out and bought an iPhone because I was like, I can't do anything if I don't have this. I have to now understand what the experience is going on here. So that's, you just want to be, it's being on the pulse of your clientele and your that's the biggest thing. I know when I'm in the pocket because I feel like I'm breathing with our clients. So any other questions, guys? Because I know our time's going to run out here pretty quick. Dan will be back in just a few minutes. Everybody's quiet. I've scared them all. It's a lot of information. I know it can be overwhelming. Really quick before I go, though, what are your guys' niches? They're like, oh, man, that question.
Transformational life coach.
What kind of, give me more.
I don't know. I haven't started yet. I am, I'm a special ed teacher by trade, elementary teacher. So I've also adapted. So I sometimes think of like, maybe helping people as they transition with foster kids or adoptions, or sometimes thinking about reaching out to other parents who work with kids who have special needs. Maybe, I don't know. Just
where does your heart sing? Where in those options, where can you imagine spending, 5 hours a day? We'll just say 5 to start every day. And imagine you weren't getting paid. But who could you work? Who could you like? Where does your heart sing?
Well, Pam and I talked. She was my coach just recently, and there've been a lot of life changes that I've come into in my 40s. That authenticity, I think, is like, I would love to see people also walk in their authentic selves. So transformational coach, I hear all day. I'm a transformational. Authenticity coach, something within that regard. And maybe authenticity may not be the right word. Maybe there's a different way to phrase it, but I got goosebumps. And maybe that's because recently I've been on this authenticity kick, but I love that, because it's just being authentically you. And I think that's something people are all searching for. What's funny, at the end of the day, we all have, I ask you what your niche is. I ask everybody, but I've worked with a lot of coaches. All of your clients are seeking similar things. I mean, very much the same. We're all whole people, and we all are experiencing the same human experience. We just put different names on it. We're experiencing it in different ways. There are different titles and different. So don't be afraid to niche yourself, because it all will boil down to that core. What is my purpose? What am I doing with my life? What am I doing? What do I want out of this? Because that's really sort of what it all distills down to. At the end of the day, it's just the niche is where you start. It's how you get to them. It's how you tap into that where they are at, so that then you can get them in and get into that deeper space with them. So, but I like that authenticity. I really do. And Sandy, hi.
Hi, let me unmute myself. That might help. My niche is going to be relationship coaching.
Relationship coaching, good one.
Particularly alternative type relationships, polyamory, LGBTQ. Anything that
I love it.
Isn't of the norm.
amazing. I absolutely love that. Amen.
you.
I'm all for out of the norm. So
Yeah, me too. It so resonates with me. So yes.
I love it. I love it. So that is amazing. I love it. And relationship coaching is fantastic. It's honestly, it's relationships are the catalyst for change, right?
Right.
So
That's right.
yeah, it's a great space to be in. So
Yeah. Thank you.
Pam, what is your niche?
Would like to really work with, when I say this, women issues.
Wait, I don't know. That might not be. It might be a little bit.
It probably has a better name. Probably has a better marketing name than that. But women who are going through, I would say from their mid-20s to the different life changes that happen, that could happen, that did happen, and just kind of being there to help them get from the one step to where they want to be.
So I'm hearing women who are going through a major change, I would assume, right? Something that is difficult to maneuver through. Can you give me a specific example?
It could be women changing careers, women going through a divorce, women getting married. Really, having a child, we all have to adjust to all different things, or I shouldn't say we all have to adjust. What I should say is sometimes adjusting to different things can be difficult.
Oh, absolutely.
So if I can help in that way, that's what I'd like to do.
I would probably make you narrow it down even further, but we'll leave it at that for now.
I'll have to call you.
Dan's been through my process. But yeah, no, simply because it's one of the things is the more you can speak directly to your ideal client, and to speak to them directly, you have to know you have to speak to them directly. You have to speak to their problem directly, and for them to trust that you can help them with that problem, you have to speak to the problem directly. So the more you know, and the more you're able to sort of fine tune that niche, that the greater you will be able to build trust with, and the further the reach you will have with the clientele you want. So, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to get others, right? But because you will, and you may be speaking to one person and then find that you're actually speaking to somebody completely different, and that's okay. That is okay. That doesn't mean you have to turn them away. It just means that you didn't intend, but the way that you speaks to this person, and so that's okay. But I always say the more you can get that distilled down, that narrowed down, the better for everybody, honestly.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I think I see Dan, so that means we're going to sign off. Thank you, anybody out there watching Facebook land. I did not monitor comments at all, so if you were commenting, I will go back and check them, I promise. And thank you for watching, and have a lovely day. And check out Certified Life Coach Institute, everyone.